Oh my God, it's been a long minute since I have been on here, but this is the official JPDL simulation draft cast. And as you know, there's been a little bit of teasers leading up to this video, but what really shocks me is just the overall of how this was actually negotiated in the terms with the NFL. See, I'm giving you a little history, okay, just a little bit, but this was something that was negotiated and finalized post the NFL draft this year. So the Ashton Genties, the Travis Hunters are already on the team. And what the NFL decided to do was look into this thing with the JPDL, this subsidiary league on the whole other side who wanted to be seen as a potential way to make it into the NFL. At the end of the day, Roger was able to negotiate that with them. And now look at this. We're here with 12 prospects who I won't say are great, but I'll say they are definitely entertaining and something to watch. So if you don't even know, if you haven't been keeping up to date, the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers have elected to be a part of this, where each one of them select 6 of the 12 candidates. It will be in a draft draft order, snake format. Each JPDL player will have to start for your team a minimum of 10 games. That's just the rules. That's the rules Roger and the JPDL commissioner came up with when negotiating these terms. And what really piques my interest here is that there are going to be 6 specific spots in terms of, roster: quarterback, running back, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a gadget guy who will be playing both RB2 and wide receiver 3. And it's going to be interesting to see exactly what these teams are going to do. Green Bay, Chicago, how are they going to approach this draft? I have no idea, but as you can see, they're already on the clock. Green Bay is the first pick of the draft. They are already on the clock. And there's a lot of prospects here. You can see it somewhere on this display right now. You can see that there are 12 prospects. I'm not going to put them in order, but I had my own mock draft. I had my own mock draft that I thought was going to be the pick. Right now, my number 1 draft prospect. Oh, I almost forgot something very important about this. It is that there are no designated positions. None. I did not make any one of these 12 prospects a specific position. It is up to the team that drafts them to put them wherever they see fit, and that will be announced by the commissioner on the JPDL draft cast. So I'm excited. I'm excited. And as you can see, the pick is actually in for the Green Bay Packers. So let's see where they're going to go with their first pick.
And with the first pick in the 2025 JPDL NFL draft, the Green Bay Packers select Ethan Bigby.
Okay.
Running back.
Atlanta. That's what I thought. That is what I thought. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I had a strong suspicion Green Bay was going to come after a player who was ready to play right now. That player being Ethan Bigby. I mean, this guy, the fact that they played him at running back is an interesting thing because he has the ability to catch. He has the ability to run. He has ball carrier vision, agility. He has incredible elusiveness. I mean, he was just the pro-ready prospect. He was by far, out of every one of these candidates, born to play. He was born to play. Great catcher. But my main concern here is this. Is he just a gadget guy? That's my main concern here. I'm going to give him the comparison of a Jahmyr Gibbs, maybe even a Christian McCaffrey, as his potential peak, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with taking your number 1 pick being this. However, what I will say is we know how valuable it is to take a quarterback. All right, we know how valuable it is to take a quarterback. And the moment I saw Ethan Bigby's name pop up on that board, I knew that this was not a quarterback selection. And shout out to Coach Goddard for the Green Bay Packers. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. And I can see this coming from my way. You take the best prospect on the board and you see what happens afterwards. You see where the draft falls and you see who may be available to you later in the draft. So with that being said, I'm ready for the second prospect. I mean, you can see on the draft boards, there's a lot of people I have, but I see the commissioner coming out with the number 2 draft for the Chicago Bears. Let's see where they go here.
With the second pick in the 2025 NFL JPDL draft, Chicago Bears select quarterback Gilchrist Kwanzaa.
There we go. I knew it. I'm not going to lie to you. I knew it. And the fact that they picked Gilchrist Kwanzaa with the second pick to play quarterback is why I have this guy as one of my top prospects by far, by a mile. This guy can be fabulous. Yes, sure. Did he not really play that much in college? And did he just start the quarterback position a little bit later in the JPDL, where he didn't even win a lot of games? In fact, I'm pretty sure he was the 9th or 10th player in terms of, Dallas Laxbros' record in the JPDL. So this is going to be very interesting to see. He didn't really play that much at quarterback, although towards the end of the season, they did decide to try him out at quarterback, and he showed flashes. That's why I'm giving him an Anthony Richardson comparison. But you cannot lie. Coming out of Dallas Laxbros, his physicals were beyond anybody's at the combine. Anybody's. They all performed at the combine, but this guy can be Cam Newton. He can be Jalen Hurts. And even if it's Jalen Hurts, because I know there's a lot of Jalen Hurts talk going out there that Jalen Hurts isn't that great of a quarterback. Even if he is Jalen Hurts, he is a freak of nature. To put a freak of nature like that as your starting quarterback in Chicago, it is very interesting to see how Coach Healy will handle this and how he will be able to, morph the offense. We know he's an historian. We know he likes more historical ways of winning, such as running the football. And I knew that going into the draft that was going to be the coach's, MO here. And so I think to take Gilchrist Kwanzaa as a real running quarterback, a true Cam Newton bruiser level quarterback, Anthony Richardson bruiser level quarterback, that's going to be something to stop. And with a snake draft, the fact that they now have this next pick, I say get him a weapon. Get him a weapon that can really do some damage in the air specifically. It's all to Chicago and what they see fit. And I'm not really going to have that much of a, bad time with these selections. So let's go ahead and let's see what the third pick is.
And with the third
Chicago
pick,
Bears,
the 2025 JPDL NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select wide receiver Chris Diaz, New York 67ers.
Oh my God. Oh my God. No, I know I just said that I wasn't going to be angry. I know I just said I wasn't going to be angry, that I wasn't going to have anything wrong with this draft, but that is my first blunder. That's the first thing where I actually did not think that was where the coach was going to go, pairing up Gilchrist with a wide receiver in Chris Diaz. This is... Where do I even begin to unpack this? Okay, what did I just say? I said I needed somebody who was going to win a ball in the air, who was going to be a physical freak and help those 50-50 catches. Chris is not that type of guy. Sure, he can play. Let's not get it twisted. I think outside of Ethan Bigby, Chris Diaz is one of those born ready-to-play prospects now. He's on that second tier of ready-to-play prospects who has already had football throughout his entire life. New York attitude. By far, we love it. We love a New York attitude in him. Great burst of speed, especially the acceleration. He has some agility and balance to him. I mean, he should. He's shifty with it. But I'm sorry. Could he just be a Tank Dell? And if it is a Tank Dell situation, are we really selecting Tank Dell at his peak at our number 3 slot in the NFL? How is he going to help Gilchrist? Is he going to be that guy who's going to help Gilchrist in check down routes? Is that what we're doing? Are we going to trust Gilchrist's throw accuracy short that wasn't really that proven in Dallas and give it to a guy from New York 67ers who could never consistently win? They don't win. They've never won a playoff game under Chris Diaz last year. It boggles my mind that we're going with Chris at the selection. I think there's a plethora of better wide receivers we could have chosen for Gilchrist specifically at Chicago. We're going to see how Coach Healy handles the situation, because I thought it was a ground and pound. Now we're getting someone who's not even that good in the run blocking game. Let's just hope, all right? Coming into the 4th pick in the draft, the Green Bay Packers are now selecting, and their pick is in. Let's see what the commissioner has to say.
In the 2025 JPDL NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select quarterback.
There we go.
Mitchell Daigle.
Oh, my God.
Toronto Mystics.
God is cooking. You got to cook. That's what I'm telling you. That's the motto here. Because to take the quarterback after taking your running back, and for him to still even be on the board, I thought Mitchell Daigle was a perfect prospect to put at wide receiver or tight end. One of the perfect prospects to put at wide receiver or tight end for Chicago Bears and Gilchrist Kwanzaa. So to take Daigle and put him at quarterback, left-handed quarterback, so unique. He can run, but he always wants to throw. He's like Drake May. In my opinion, I have him as a Drake May type of prospect. The only problem I do have is that he is undisciplined. He can be somewhat of a, ego, proud type of player, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then lastly, he's going to make the hero play. He's going to try to make the hero play every time. It's deep ball or nothing. He's not a check down merchant. He doesn't want to be, and sometimes that's what you need in the ball game. So you have one of the best running backs in the class who can both catch and run. You have a quarterback who I believe is a better throwing quarterback than Gilchrist Kwanzaa, although I would take Gilchrist in terms of what he can be over what Mitchell can be. I think there's a certain ceiling to Mitchell that Gilchrist, will be able to shatter. But it really comes down to what I think Mitchell's weapons are going to be post this pick, the next picks. Because we already got a running back solidified. We got a quarterback solidified. And both teams have their quarterback. But Mitchell, he's going to need certain weapons. I saw him playing for the Toronto Mystics, that Canada franchise. And one thing I will say is he does need a certain type of weapon to perform well. He needs fast, speedy receiver. He needs also a 50-50 ball catcher. He needs all these types of things and a good tight end. So it'll be interesting to see. I think Gilchrist can do more. Like, he has more weapons in his arsenal. But Mitchell, for what he has, I mean, he can definitely become the best quarterback in this franchise if everything goes his way. And if the franchise puts pieces around him that can really help. And because this is a snake draft, the 5th pick does belong to Green Bay. So let's go ahead and let's see what Green Bay decides to elect to pick with their 5th pick in the draft.
The Green Bay Packers select wide receiver William Fitzgerald VI, LA Flames.
Okay. That's a pick. To take Fitzgerald here at the 5th pick in the draft is definitely an interesting guy. I mean, for me, I had him as a Zay Flowers level prospect to, best case scenario, someone like a Tyreek Hill, but not at all Tyreek Hill level speed. I mean, he is an elite speedster receiver with elite deep threat ability, but his hands are questionable. His hands are definitely questionable. He has somewhat of a me attitude to a certain degree, and to pair that up with Mitchell, who also is kind of a proud quarterback, I don't know. I did hear, though, in the grapevine that in college they were roommates. I don't know if that can, potentially increase chemistry between them two specifically, that they know each other very well, know exactly where to throw the ball, when to throw the ball. I think that's going to play a big part. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Well, look at you. You were talking about Chris Diaz and how he shouldn't have been the 3rd pick and Fitzgerald is the 5th pick, and you're not even saying it. No, listen. This is why. Let's think. Let's use our brains here. I said for Gilchrist. For Gilchrist specifically. Do I think Chris with Mitchell at quarterback would be elite? No doubt in my mind he would. But Chris with Gil, that's going to be something interesting. I don't necessarily know where they're going to take that. I think this is a perfect pick for Green Bay, who have Mitchell already on their spot, who have Ethan Bigby, and now have their super speedster in Fitzgerald. That's definitely what we need. And so that's why I'm not necessarily complaining. Now, if this was switched and Fitzgerald was the number 3 pick, 100% I would have had a problem with that. 100% I would have had a problem with that. Great first 3 picks by Coach Gata and the Green Bay Packers. And I got to say, I love what they're doing. This coach has a lot to do in Chicago. Let's see who he picks with his 6th pick in the draft.
And to finish the first round in the 2025 JPDL NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select wide receiver James Ball, Boston Baller Brand.
That's what I've been waiting to see. Okay. Let's relax. Let's relax. Let's calm down. This is my wide receiver 1. This was by far my wide receiver 1. Look. You know what they say about the combine? They're all like, hey, don't get too concerned over the physical attributes and the No, not when it comes to this prospect, especially paired up with Gilchrist. I love this. James Ball was my 3rd pick. He was my 3rd pick. I would have gone Ethan/Gilchrist, then Gilchrist/Ethan, and then I would have gone James Ball. I think he was the elite second tier player by far. And to get him at the 6th spot to pair with Chris Diaz, now we're cooking. Do I like the wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 dynamic? Not necessarily, but I do think James could beat him out in camp. He could beat Chris Diaz out in camp in preseason and become that wide receiver 1, even if he is listed as the wide receiver 2. I think James Ball, phenomenal athlete, tall. He does not necessarily have elite speed, definitely not Chris and Fitzgerald speed, but he does have speed that can, kind of be somewhat good. Now, the one thing I was questioning is due to his physicals, a lot of people wanted him to play tight end. He cut that out immediately. He told everybody that he was not trying to play tight end. He was never going to do it again. He does not necessarily, not that he doesn't like the physicals, but he just thinks the longevity in football is better at the wide receiver position, and he would have a ton of mismatches playing wide receiver than he would playing tight end. So I did have him compared to Mark Andrews because I thought someone was going to take him to tell him, hey, you're playing tight end no matter what we say. Didn't happen. Surprisingly, Chicago decided to take him a wide receiver. I love that. And hopefully, with this snake draft, they can pair James Ball and Gilchrist with something immaculate, and Chris, with something immaculate with their 201 draft pick. So let's get this going. And the commissioner is here to announce the pick for the Chicago Bears.
And with the first pick in the second round, the Chicago Bears select tight end James McCaskey, Philadelphia Frauds.
Okay. They got themselves a tight end one. I'm telling you, James McCaskey, he was a absolute great pull. James McCaskey he's proven himself with the Philadelphia Frauds. Now listen, because I thought he was coming in out as a wide receiver, to see him play tight end still isn't that bad of a deal, especially for the Chicago Bears. I do think they're going to run a couple packages where, James Ball and James McCaskey switch into their tight end wide receiver role. Hopefully James Ball is okay with that. But I had him at Mike Evans because one thing this guy has, excellent jumping ability. He was a hurdler back even in high school. So what are we going to say about that? College life was college. And then when he came down into the Philadelphia Frauds lineup, he was catching balls like no other. And not only that, he's just been a clutch guy. He's made clutch plays. He's gotten his team to the finals last year, the Philadelphia Frauds, to the finals against Atlanta Juicers in a nail-biter that came down to a last-minute catch by him. I think he's going to be an excellent player. And with that being said, let's go down to see what Green Bay decides to do with their pick after what looked like a pretty good stretch of picks by the Chicago Bears. So, Commissioner, go ahead and, tell us what we got.
And with the second pick in the second round, the Green Bay Packers select wide receiver Mark Luther, Washington kickball team.
That makes the most sense. I'm not going to lie to you. That makes the most sense. Looking at my sheet here, telling me a lot about Mark Luther. He's a lengthy wide receiver, all right? Probably the best route runner in the class, close to the best route runner in the class. If Ethan Bigby was eligible at wide receiver, I would say he's more of the route runner. But coming out of Washington kickball team, this guy was a good guy. Is he a 50-50 ball winner? Not necessarily, but he'll find a way to get open. He'll find a way to get the football. And I think Mitchell, having Fitzgerald, and now Mark Luther is a perfect, mix of speed and physicals that we have seen. I think it closely compares to Chris and James Ball. What would I give the edge to specifically? I'm really sold on James Ball's ability to play in this league, especially coming out of Boston Baller brand, where they basically bred football talent. They bred football talent. It's a military-like system down there in Boston. But what we got in Mark in the Washington kickball team is a guy who somehow you blink and he has 8 catches for 90 yards out of nowhere that you didn't even realize. But each one of those catches had a big effect on the game. I thought he was going to potentially be a tight end. I thought maybe that someone would draft him to play tight end. But wide receiver, that fits his mold a lot better in my opinion. And to pair up with Fitzgerald, that's going to be an excellent combination if those two can get on the same page, because I did hear some rumors around that Washington kickball team and LA Flames have a bit of beef. I don't know if that's true, but they're gonna have to squash it. They're gonna have to step up and play good football for the Green Bay Packers. And Mitchell Nagel, he has a lot to choose from. So now let's see what the Green Bay Packers select to do with their next pick.
And with the third pick
turn
in the 2025 JPDL NFL draft, the Green Bay Packers select tight end Patrick Tyler.
Okay.
Montana Milkers.
Okay. This is a prospect we have not seen. Okay. He's physically gifted, but Montana Milkers, this was a newly formed organization, the JPDL. We don't have much, if not any, tape of Patrick Tyler. This is just going straight off of just what he physically did in the combine and what he physically did in his pro day. It's going to be very interesting. He's definitely a physical player. He can block. He can catch. He can do all that stuff. He's going to be a big guy when it comes to the red zone opportunities. And he's selfless. He's a selfless player. I'm just worried with the lack of tape. Can he really hold up his end of the deal when being drafted in the NFL? We're going to have to see Pat really put an emphasis on his ability to actually play in the NFL. And I think he's going to be able to do that perfectly. My comp is Evan Ingram. Just talented physically. Let's see if he can do it. I haven't even seen much of his hands, so I can't even talk to you guys about his hands. All I can see is hands in the combine. All right, Montana Milkers, I don't know who their quarterback was, but, hopefully Pat can get it done, and he can really be that guy, So now let's go, and let's look and see what Chicago Bears now have to select after Green Bay took Pat and Mark Luther, 2 good picks, especially at this stage in the draft. Let's see out of who's available. The Chicago Bears select.
The Chicago Bears select running back Ahmad Montague, Vice City Business.
There you have it, folks. There you have it. With the next pick in the draft, Ahmad Montague, running back out of Vice City Business. This is somebody I thought was going to be a lot higher, and I did not expect him to play the running back position. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't expect it. You know what I expected? I expected a guy who, has the physicals, has the elite speed and stamina combination, to play wide receiver. Because he does have a bit of height on him. He can do what a lot of these other guys could do at the wide receiver position. I thought he was going to be a great elite speed stamina combination guy. He's going to be a bit taller of a running back than we're normally used to. He's not going to be like Ethan Bigby, who's going to be more agile, getting in between. Ahmad's going to really be power back in this thing. Now that I'm really thinking about it, I love this move by Coach Healy. Get himself a running back to match with Gilchrist's physical ability. And let's just ball. So now we got James Ball. We got Gilchrist Kwanzaa with the quarterback, holding it down at quarterback. We have Ahmad Montague in the backfield. Chris as a very shifty wide receiver. And James McCaskey at tight end. This is a great team. This is actually really well formed. I'm going to say it here first before anybody says it. Look out for him to be the leading rusher and the leading rushing touchdown guy in the JPDL class. I think this guy is my sleeper pick. To be picked at the number 10 slot, to be picked at the 204 is insanity to me. All of a sudden, I'm looking at Chicago. I'm saying the historical, run first mentality that Coach Healy wants to really, pile on this season in the NFL. This is your back to do it. This is the guy. Power back, power back, power back. And with gadget guys in place for both teams, this gadget guy can now be used more as the RB2 in this scheme rather than just another wide receiver. So I do like what they're doing down here in Chicago. And let's see if they match it with another guy who I'm thinking of at this pick. So, Commissioner, leave it up to you.
With the 5th pick in the 2nd round of the JPDL NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select gadget guy Mikel Demeke.
There we have it. There we have it.
Stevens.
Another guy that we didn't really have that much tape on, just like Patrick Tyler. Mikel will be taking his talents to Chicago. Who do I have him play in comparison to? DeAndre Swift. I mean, this guy, he has the ability to run. He has the ability to catch the football, although I don't necessarily know at what level. So if you don't know at what level, get him as a gadget guy. Let's see what he does. And if he takes over one of these positions, he takes over one of these spots, so be it. We got to steal as the gadget guy. I think he is a talented player. He has pretty good elusiveness. He's a perfect gadget guy for this system, but can he handle the dual role? I personally would see him as more of the 2nd-tier running back, especially with Ahmad Montague. Give Ahmad a breather, put Mikel in there. He's going to be able to run and get you some yards. I feel like this is a Zeke, Tony Pollard type situation. We can really see both running backs thrive as running backs. Like, I know gadget guy will play running back 2 and wide receiver 3, but I think Mikel might get a lot more burn at the running back than, Green Bay's gadget guy who already had Ethan Bigby who can do both things. So I'm really excited to see how they scheme up Mikel, especially because you really can't scheme for him. There's not much tape. The Chirac shooters, they didn't have much tape. If you scheme him right, I could see him get 40 rushing yards, 25 catching yards, 30, 20. He can get that. I love this pick for the Chicago Bears. And because of this pick, we already know who the last pick is, but we are going to instead just let the commissioner say
And with the last pick in the JPDL NFL Draft, deemed Mr. Irrelevant, gadget guy Nick Mills.
There we go.
Hurdlers.
There we go. There we have it. Our final pick. I always knew Nick Mills was going to be a Green Bay Packer. Why did I know this? It's because he said it himself. We heard the whole time leading up to the draft. We heard in the combine that he was absolutely saying, I'm not going to be a Bear. I'm a hometown kid, Green Bay fan supporter. I want to be on Green Bay more than anything. We saw it. He was denying interviews from the Chicago Bears. He didn't want any part of that organization. The moment he heard that Green Bay was the team that was going to be a part of this, he wanted in. And he basically forced himself. And as the Green Bay Packers would do, if we have somebody who already wants to come to his team and has been saying Chicago isn't the place he's going to go to, I'm most definitely going to wait and take him with my last pick, because now I can get him anywhere. He's a team guy, hometown kid. Do I think he has an elite trait? No. No. Not many people, really have elite traits, but Nick Mills, he seems like kind of like, just a good football player. Just a good football player. He can play wherever, which is why Gadget Guy fits him perfectly. I think he's going to be more of the wide receiver in this offense rather than Mikal, who's going to be more of the running back in that offense, the RB2. I think Nick Mills as a wide receiver 3 and, a potential reliever for Ethan every now and then, although I do think Ethan is going to have a major amount of touches. I love this. I love this draft. Let's go ahead and let's see the teams right here, all right? Let's just go ahead and see the teams right here. So this is what we got. This is what we got. We have at the first pick for Green Bay, they select running back Ethan Bigbie. With the second pick for Green Bay, they select Mitchell Daigle. The third, they select Will Fitzgerald. The fourth, Mark Luther. 5, Pat Tyler. And 6, Nick Mills. This Green Bay unit, chemistry-wise, makes so much sense. And what could you expect from Coach G? What could you expect from him? He was going to do this. We all knew he was big on just getting pieces that fit chemically. Just getting pieces. Chemistry is his big thing. We know this. We love the fact that this team schematically looks great. Do I think they could have gotten a more power back running back? Of course I do. But they have the best running back in the class in Ethan Bigbie, who can do both things at an elite level. I think he is one of the favorites for Rookie of the Year, if you were to say it right now. Yeah, with Ashton Genty. Yeah, with Travis Hunter. Yeah, with Gilchrist Kwanzaa. Ethan, by far, is going to have a 900 rushing yard, 700 receiving yard type season. Like, that's going to be crazy within itself. 1,500, 1,700. Like, we're going to see those type of ratios from Ethan Bigbie on a game-to-game basis. And what Mitchell's going to be able to do with these weapons and Mark Luther and Pat Tyler and a deep threat in Fitzgerald with potentially Nick Mills running little routes, running screenplays, it's going to be one heck of an offense. And then, obviously, Nick Mills, hometown kid, he's going to be doing it for the city. That's what we love to see. And then looking at Chicago's team, first pick, they selected Gilchrist. Second pick, they selected Chris. Third pick, they selected James Ball. Fourth, they selected James McCaskey. The fifth pick, they selected Ahmad Montague, a running back with their fifth pick, the 10th overall. And then at 6th, they selected Mikal. And this is going to be an amazing, amazing group of just rough football, hard-nosed football players who will get it done. And I wouldn't be surprised if I saw 30 rushes a game from this team, 30, 35 rushes a game from this team. I mean, this team is going to be just running the rock. So for all the old heads who want that run and gun type of scheme, this is the TV to watch down here in Chicago. The JPDL is now officially in the NFL. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see all of the twists and turns that are coming from this. Who climbs the depth charts, who fall in the depth charts. And at the end of the day, who's going to win ball games? That's what really matters. So, hey, season 2, we're here. Hey, the Madden Sim, we're here. Madden Simulation, Madden 26, we are here. Let's see who does good and who drops the ball.